Paul Rushworth-Brown, author of Skullduggery, Red Winter Journey, and Dream of Courage, just recently released. I hope you enjoy Skullduggery, the second edition. Cheers. I'm here with Sue Kennedy, who is a book coach for Author Academy. Sue, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Paul. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, and I remember that, I think it's going back to 2022, and you organised that book summit and had
Yes.
a number of authors on the show, interviewed them and let them do a reading from their novels. That was fantastic. Do you have any plans to do something like that again?
Look, I think I will. It was great. It was a lot of fun doing it. But yes, I'm thinking I should probably do some more of that because I think a lot of people enjoyed it.
Obviously, you're an author as well. I suppose you haven't moved away. But what brought you into the Author Academy and becoming a book coach? What does a book coach do?
So, great question. I wrote quite a lot of books and people kept saying to me, wow, how do you write so many books? So I thought, well, maybe I should write a book about how to write a book. So I did that and I turned that into a workshop. And then, of course, from that, I then thought, well, I need to now offer coaching around how to do it. So I created my coaching program that I now, run. I predominantly run it as one-to-one, but I am going to open it up to run it as groups as well, because I think that's very powerful when you can run it as a group, because you can brainstorm with other authors. And I think there's a lot of gold nuggets in that. But it's not for everyone. But the reason I became the book coach is because, well, pretty much that. I went through and, worked out how to do it all back in the day when it wasn't as easy as it is today. I mean, it's still not easy, but there was a lot more unknowns back then when I was doing it. I would love to have had a book coach to hold my hand and show me, step by step how to do it. But a book coach is, and what I love to do is pretty much be there and hold you accountable and hold your hand every step of the way and show you how to actually, go from idea to actually holding a book in your hand. So, and I've got, different steps that I do that. And my unique one is that we include a process in there of how you can unblock your story. Because
discussing that with you, it certainly was a very positive thing to me. Sort of like helped me build a little bit of confidence, and obviously, 3 books later. On your bio, when I read your bio on the Author Academy website, one of the reasons you actually got into sort of like writing was to help you deal with depression. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. It was many moons ago now, it feels like, but it was a horrible part in my life, in my journey, and I'd lost everything. Like I had everything, and then I just pretty much felt like overnight I lost everything and had nothing, and went, wow, what just happened? And I fell into a deep, dark depression, which I didn't understand at the time. I didn't, it wasn't talked about as much as it is today. And I'm grateful that we do talk about it more so today. But yes, I sort of thought, well, what's going on? And then I did research and figured out what was happening and went, wow, okay, I need to do something about this to, get myself out, because this is not a very good place to be in. And so I thought I was journaling it. And then I went, well, hang on a minute, what if I actually turn this into a book?
So the question is, in what ways do you see writing as a therapeutic tool, and how does your coaching process integrate this aspect to promote emotional healing and resilience?
I love that question. It is a therapeutic tool because it's creative, like it's a creative process. But what happens is if we hold our story inside of it, it ends up turning into disease. So we need to get it out. Now, whether that's using just a pen, or whether it's on the computer, it's whatever works for you. But you need to just get that story out from your head and put it onto computer or paper. Because when you do that, you're actually releasing it and you're getting it out, and it's not stuck in within, your mind and your body. So it's very powerful doing that. Now, whether you actually put that into a book and publish it is entirely up to you. But I do recommend that if you do have some kind of trauma, or, some kind of story that you need to release, then I highly recommend writing it. And then, maybe afterwards you might go, like I did with my depression, go, wow, actually, this could help other people, which I'm telling you, your story can. Even though you might think, well, everyone else has got a story about depression or some other kind of mental health problem or domestic violence, whatever it is, your story is unique. So you need to let other people know, from your perspective, how you dealt with it. And, it's really helps you emotionally and mentally heal, and physically. It heals you on all levels. So, and, once I finished mine, for instance, I felt so much better, and it just gave me the strength and resilience. Once I finished it, it was I can't even explain it properly how amazing the transformation once I did that. So I just highly recommend to your audience that, do that exercise, whether it is just, as I say, something that you write for yourself, or you actually then turn it into a published book. I mean, hopefully you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, over the last, I've met a lot of authors, and it's interesting, sort of, I suppose, speaking to them and finding out exactly why they decided to write a novel and the reasons behind it. I mean, and I mean, I know of at least two other authors that have written novels basically because of some sort of trauma in their life. And I mean, you're right; it can be a very, very powerful thing to release those thoughts. Okay, finally, can you speak to the significance of storytelling and the impact it can have both today's world? I suppose the first part of the question we've already answered, or you've already answered. But how can this how can it have an impact on the broader scale of the world?
Yep. No, brilliant. But, well, I mean, people love stories. Stories are what sells you or as an author or business owner, whatever. It can have such a huge impact. Your story can have such a big impact. Like, for instance, one of the ladies that I helped finish her book, she'd been writing it. If you don't mind, I'll share this example. But her book was about her daughter that she unfortunately lost at a young age. But she had cerebral palsy, and I think it took her, like when I met her, she'd been trying to write the book for like 30 odd years and just couldn't finish it until she met me. And then, she actually asked me if I did one-to-one coaching, which I then said yes. So she booked in and we went through, and I helped her actually finish the book and get it published. And the thing is that her story is about her daughter and all the things that they went through to help her live the best life that she could in the short time that she did have. But the impact that that book has is the fact that it helps other families that have children with cerebral palsy, and because they feel like they're not alone, and also the fact that, there's tools in that book that can help them, with their situation where they may not have thought that before. So, just something as simple as, well, it's not simple, it's actually huge. Be able
Yeah.
to, you might think it's simple, but it's actually huge because you don't understand how that can actually impact so many people and the world.
Can you share a specific example of how your coaches has empowered an aspiring writer to overcome obstacles and bring their book to life using your methodology? Now, from what I understand, you have sort of like a 5-step process. You don't need to tell me the 5-step process because obviously that's probably a business model. But help authors overcome their fear of rejection, bad reviews, all that topic?
Well, yeah, because a lot of the stuff that, when I'm coaching them as well, we do a lot of, I like to call it heartstorming instead of brainstorming. So we do a lot of heartstorming, and, when we come up against little blocks or obstacles, we talk through it and work through our way through it so that it helps them, so that they can actually get their story written and done. But so whilst doing all that, I'm actually building their confidence, and they can actually then, because a lot of people, of course, come to me and they're like, well, who would want to read my story? And I'm not good enough. And we work on that to make sure that by the end of it, they are so confident and so proud of what they've achieved that they can go out and.
It tends to get easier the more novels you write. I think it tends to get easier. Like after the third novel, I mean, Skullduggery was 300 pages long. Dream of Courage 500 pages long. So you can tell just by the writing that over a period of 5 years you just learn so much as an author, and obviously you with Author Academy have a lot to do to sort of helping authors achieve that.
Oh, exactly, yeah. And yeah, that's why we, as I said, we heartstorm, and I hold them accountable so that they do achieve those goals and hold their hand every step of the way, because and one of the things is to make sure that the book flows. And as you say, the proofreading and editing is probably the most boring part of the process, but it's the most important part, and we help with that. So
Yeah. And so
sure.
I think we've got time for one more question. Considering writing a book that feels hesitant or unsure, what advice would you offer to help them take the first step?
So there's a couple of things. They could easily, and I'm quite happy if they would like to just book in with a free heartstorming session with me to have a chat so I can get them moving forward. But, you've got to be passionate about what you're writing about. So, because that's one of the things that's going to allow you to get it finished. Because if you're not passionate enough, it'll sit on the shelf, collecting dust. So, be very passionate about what it is, what's your end goal, and just do an outline of the book. Like, do an outline of what that book is, and knowing where the book's going to end is very helpful. So one of my biggest tips that I give people is write your last chapter first.
Right.
So that because a lot of people, that's their biggest whole.
I couldn't do that because I don't know what the last chapter's
And some
because
people
I don't plan it.
but if they do, you don't plan it. You just start writing it, it just comes in.
Yeah, I just start writing and it just comes, just flows. And I don't know if you know Gillian Wells, but she said something similar the other day when I asked, she's written like a number of children's books and a number of adult books, and very experienced writer. And I said, what's your process? And she said, and I tend to do the same thing.
And some
because,
people are blessed enough to have that. So that's great. If you're blessed and you can do it that way, then that's fantastic. But not everyone does have that. So.
No. Because the great thing about that is, I like sort of like twists and turns in my novel. The great thing about that is if you just write, and you might change that because nobody's going to expect that, and I find that a real thrill.
Yeah, no, it is. Well,
so Sue, it's been lovely seeing you again.